welcome to the video. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you how to save your marriage, prevent divorce, and keep your family together within the next 90 days. Now, if your wife has told you that she wants space, separation, or a divorce, don't make another move until you've watched this video. What you do over the next 90 days will either put you in the strongest position possible to save your marriage or will move you faster towards divorce. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how most men make their situation worse and exactly what you need to do so you can give your marriage the best possible chance of recovery. So let's get into the video. Here's how I can help you. My name is Reed Sassenberg and I am a divorce prevention expert. I've helped save hundreds of marriages all over Australia in the past 4 years. I do this through my online program and community called the Married Ambition Program, also known as the MAP. It's literally the map, the structure, the guidance you need to go from where you currently are, where your wife has said she wants space, separation, or divorce, and take you to where she wants to work on things again and she's hopeful about the future of the marriage. So I help my clients stop making critical mistakes and put themselves in the strongest possible position to save their marriage and keep their families together. So the men I work with, they're not bad husbands. They're good men who love their wives and kids, but somewhere along the way, they've lost themselves, okay? And their marriages started to break down, and now they're desperately trying to figure out how to turn it around. If that's you, you are in the right place. So, the problem you are currently facing is this. Right now, you're asking yourself one question. How do I get my wife back? That's the wrong question to ask, because when a husband becomes fearful, okay, he starts chasing, he starts pleading, over-explaining, constantly checking in, trying to convince his wife to stay, or making promises that he can't keep consistently over time. So these reactions do one thing for your wife, okay? They create more pressure, and pressure creates further distance. So the problem you're facing is your emotional control. If you don't control your emotions and subsequent actions, okay, you will not save your marriage. The better question is this. So the question is, how do I get my wife back? Is not the question to ask. The question is, what kind of man do I need to become to save my marriage? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Now, this is why most advice fails. Most marriage crisis advice tells you to communicate more. Go to couples counseling, fight harder for her, show her how much you love her, buy flowers, write love letters, promise change. Or the other advice or the other side of the coin is they'll tell you to completely detach emotionally and go no contact from her. Both of these strategies will make your situation way worse and push her faster towards divorce. So what do you need to do instead? Your wife feels hopeless about the marriage. The only way to change her mind is to give her a reason for hope. In giving her that reason for hope about the future of the marriage, you can change her mind, obviously. So the only way you can do this is through consistent behavioral change. So you have to start showing real change. That's what we need to do. We need to change the old relationship, the old patterns in the relationship, and you need to become a new version of yourself, the best version of yourself that you can become. That's the goal, because that puts you in a position to actually save the marriage. Now, here's the critical shift you need to make. The goal isn't getting your wife back. The goal is becoming the man your wife experiences differently. Okay, that's a different objective completely. Okay, when you stop chasing and start focusing on change, your interactions improve. Conflict reduces, respect begins to return, and emotional safety increases and reconciliation becomes possible. You need to start providing real evidence of change, which results in her questioning her decision to leave the marriage. So, whether your wife chooses reconciliation is ultimately her decision, but becoming the man who makes reconciliation possible, that's your decision. Okay? Will you choose to become that man? That's the question you have to answer here. Are you willing to go through the process to put yourself in the position where she reconsiders divorce, reconsiders separation? Okay, that's where we want to place ourselves. That's what you can control. So, my framework that prevents divorce. It's called the Gari method. It's designed specifically to stop the downward spiral and put you in the strongest possible position to save your marriage and obviously keep your family together. It's a 5-phase process, okay? And we're going to go through these quick steps here, and I'm going to give you the groundwork and the exact steps that you need to take to turn your situation around. So phase 1 is called grounding, okay? You have to ground yourself emotionally. Stop making your situation worse and start following a proven strategy for your specific situation. That starts creating emotional safety, and that's where everything can start changing from that point forward. So you have to ground yourself emotionally. Okay, that's the first step. You have to stop making your situation worse, break the negative patterns that have got you into this position. Phase 2 is what we do. We move into a phase in the program called awareness. Now, most men are trying to fix the symptoms of the bad marriage or the problems in the marriage, okay, instead of the cause, okay? We have to fix the cause, the identity issues you're facing. So we'll identify the deeper issues that you have driving the breakdown in your marriage. Once you understand the real problems, you can actually fix the problem, and then you'll know exactly what needs to change, okay? Then we move into phase 3, which is the renovation. This is where the change occurs. Awareness of the real issues is not enough that we went through in phase 2. It's you have to know those things, but it's really now about taking action on the change that's required. So you must now, like I said, take action that produces real change. Your actions will always be led by your identity. We do a renovation on becoming your best version. Then we move into phase 4, where we further improve our processes and our change, our mindset, our emotional frame, and our strategies. Every day we get better and better with consistent intention, and every night we reassess, did we follow through on these actions, and how am I showing up on a daily basis? And then phase 5 is we endure with this process. The changes required, we're following the correct strategy, and you consistently live by your values, which naturally meets your wife's emotional needs through action, okay? Not talking about them. We have to show change here consistently. So when your identity changes, your behavior will naturally change. When your behaviors change, your marriage has an actual chance at being reconciled or preventing divorce or preventing the separation. So that's the 5-step process or 5-phase process that my program will take you through, okay? Now, why does this process work, or why does the map work? This is the problem. Even if men know what they need to do, okay, very few actually do it consistently, okay? That's why information alone will not save your marriage. Implementation will change your marriage, not knowledge, okay? So you have to obviously understand your situation. You have to understand, the unique patterns that you're bringing to the relationship that's caused the breakdown. You need to obviously build that knowledge base. Then what you need to do is take action, which is implementation. That's what saves the marriage. Now, you can't just implement things for a short period of time. You need to be consistent with the change. So that's exactly what we do in the Married Ambition program, okay? You just don't receive the exact process and information required. That's definitely part of it, but you receive a step-by-step personalized roadmap for your situation. You get the guidance you need, the accountability, the practical frameworks, and also in the community, in the program, you get a community of guys who are in your exact position, guys who have turned their situations around, guys who are halfway there, and guys that have gone down the same path that you're going through. So, you're always going to know what your next move is when joining the Married Ambition program. So it's all about implementation of the correct process, okay? Now, instead of guessing, okay, and watching a million YouTube videos and trying to really understand how do I save my marriage, you need to execute here. You need to execute on a proven process. And this is what we call the CAPO principle, which is knowledge, action, persistence, outcome. You learn the knowledge that's required, the awareness of the situation, what's got you into this position. Then we take action once we understand that those dynamics that have got us here, and we change the dynamic in the relationship. We be persistent with that behavior, with our identity change, and guess what happens? The outcome comes to you. Okay, that's what happens when you make real change, because that's what she needs. She's very unhappy. She's checked out of the relationship, checked out of the marriage. The only way that this changes is if you change. Okay, you have to lead here, and you have to take action towards the outcome that you want. What's at stake here? Okay, this isn't just about saving your marriage. It's really about keeping your family together, your future, and holding on to the life you've spent years building with your wife and kids and family. Okay, if nothing changes here, if you don't make change, if you don't take action and start implementing things that will move the needle in the right direction for you, you could lose the woman you love. You could lose the family. Okay, that's a very real possibility here. Now, if that does occur, you could face years of emotional pain, stress, uncertainty, while rebuilding your life from as a 40-year-old, 50-year-old, late 30-year-old. Have to divide assets. All those years you've worked so hard to build, where you currently are. It's something that is very, very serious. And I know that's why you're watching this video, because you're in that exact position. So the other problem here is your children, okay? They're going to grow up in two different homes, okay? Another man could become part of your children's lives, sharing moments that you always imagined that you would be there for, tucking them into bed at night, Christmases, Easters, holidays. Another man could be filling that role. So, none of these outcomes are guaranteed, but they are very real possibilities. And I know that hits at the core of, why you're so hell-bent on trying to save your marriage. But here's the process for you. And that's why the next 90 days matter. Okay, that's why these next 90 days are absolutely critical from what you do from this point. The decisions you make now will determine whether you give your marriage the best possible chance of recovery or you move it towards divorce. Okay, so that's the decision you have right at this very moment. Okay, this is my guarantee to you. Nobody can honestly guarantee your wife will come back or stop the process of divorce. Your marriage involves two people, okay? Anyone who promises that outcome is not being truthful to you. But what I can guarantee you is this. Within 90 days, I'll put you in the strongest possible position to save your marriage and keep your family together. You'll stop making the mistakes that push her away. You'll become emotionally stronger. You'll become more attractive through your actions. You'll communicate differently. You'll become someone she can deeply respect again. You'll make the changes required to save your marriage. Now, regardless of what your wife ultimately decides, you'll know you've become the man your family deserves and given your marriage every possible opportunity to recover. That's my guarantee. Within 90 days, I'll put you in the strongest possible position to save your marriage, prevent divorce, and keep your family together. Who is this for? This program, okay, my Married Ambition program, is for husbands who refuse to quit on themselves. This is for men who take action, men who are prepared to take ownership, men who understand that changing themselves gives their marriage the greatest chance to be saved. If you're looking for shortcuts, this is not for you. Okay, you can't talk your way out of a behavioral issue here. She's checked out. I'm sure you would have tried begging, pleading, guaranteeing change, all this stuff. That's going to push her further away. So if you're willing to actually do the work, okay, and become the man your marriage actually needs, you'll fit right into this program. Now, the question is, are you a man who takes action? Are you going to put yourself in the position to save your marriage? This requires action, this requires work, and it requires implementation of the changes required. Now, here's some guys that have actually made that decision. Jevon Owens, okay? Guys who have taken action. Now, Jevon came into the map full of anxiety, uncertain about his marriage's future, and within 3 months, his wife was amazed by the changes and called off the separation. So Jevon is now an assistant coach within the Married Ambition program and helping other men walk this exact path that takes you to saving your marriage and keeping your family together. Jevon has an incredible work ethic and he's an amazing coach, and he gives great guidance on our group calls every Thursday. So well done, Jevon. You did the work, and he turned his situation around. Another guy who made massive change and ended up saving his marriage is Paulo Francini. Okay, Paulo was officially separated from his wife. She said she was done, and within 10 weeks of joining the Married Ambition program, she was willing to work on things again to see how it goes. Now, she completely reinvested back into the marriage 6 months later, and her exact words were, "I have never felt more connected and safer than ever before." Now, this man chose change. He chose change and he took action on his decision, okay, for his family. And it's paid off big time. Now, Paulo is obviously over the moon. Another guy who's made the changes required is Jason Stevenson. This legend came into the map stuck in a negative cycle of emotional reactivity, covert contracts, giving to get, was really stuck in a real negative cycle with his wife. She said she's done. She was living at another, they were living separately, and he was completely unsure of the future of his marriage. He was full of resentment, anger, and anxiety. And almost after quitting a number of times, Jason flicked the switch, and now his wife has moved back in, and they have never been happier in their marriage. So well done, Jason. He really went through the process there and made the changes required to get him the outcome that he wanted. Matthew Thewlis, Matty came into the program as well, riddled with anxiety, and was broken regarding his marriage. He was out of the family home, and he now has his wife back, and they've recommitted to the marriage within 4 months of joining the MAP. So all these men have one thing in common. They decided on action. They decided that, I'm not going to just let this play out and not take action here. I'm going to make change, and they decided on that change. So the next step here for you, if what you've heard today resonates with you, here's the next step. Book a Stop Your Divorce call below in the description of this video. And on the call, okay, we're going to understand exactly where your marriage is at today, and we'll identify what's driving the breakdown. I'll tell you, whether I think I can help you. If I believe I can help, I'll then show exactly what that next 90 days would look like for you. There's no pressure. There's no false promises here. Just a clear plan based on your situation. So if you're seriously thinking about doing this call and really going down this process of real identity change that can put you in the position to save your marriage, this call is for men who are ready to take action immediately and are serious about preventing divorce and keeping their family together, okay? Your wife has already made it clear that something needs to change. The question is whether you're willing to become the man who can lead that change and save the marriage. So book your Stop Your Divorce call below in the description of this video. Let's put you in the strongest possible position to save your marriage over the next 90 days. I'll see you on the call.